يرحمكم الله. So the riwayah goes as such by Al-Halabi. He says Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam 1 week before he passed away. Rasulullah passed away on a Monday. The Monday before that last day, so 1 week before, Rasulullah calls the Muslimin to war, and he says, get the army ready. I'm about to send you towards Ar-Rum, the Romans. And before, the Muslimin they fought the Romans before, under the command of Zayd ibn Arqam. In that war, Zayd ibn Arqam fell. He was killed. He was martyred. And so Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam found and saw that the army was ready, the Muslimin were ready to fight the Romans once again. On that Monday, he commanded the Muslimin, get the army ready. We're going to go to war. Tuesday, Rasulullah calls for Usama, son of Zayd, son of Arqam, that was killed against the Romans. So he calls the son of the one that was slain against the Romans. He says to Usama, O Usama, I command you and I put you over the army that I am sending towards the Romans. Sir ala barakatillah. Get the army ready and move towards the Romans. The riwayah says, Usama ibn Zayd, he gets the army ready in a place called Al-Jurf, which is very close to Medina, just on the outskirts of Medina. This is where the army was to meet and get ready to move towards the Romans, yes? Zayd ibn Arqam was 18 according to some historians at the time. Other historians say he was 20. He was a young man. And he was to be in command of all of the Muslimin, amongst them the prominent companions of Rasulullah, the likes of Abu Bakr, the likes of Umar, the likes of Abu Ubaid al-Jarrah, the Amawiyin, Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan, and the likes. So men that are in their 50s, 60s, maybe even, Allah alam, 70s, men that have more influence than Usama and more prominence than the commander of the army that they are supposed to be under. So naturally, they start to feel some type of way. Al-Halabi continues. This is on a Tuesday. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam falls ill on a Wednesday. On Wednesday, Rasulullah falls ill. Where's Usama at this moment in time? He's still around Medina. He hasn't moved. Thursday comes around. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is now on his deathbed. If you remember yesterday when Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam asked for a pen and paper to write that will, it was on that same Thursday when Rasulullah was on his deathbed and he called for a pen and paper and they said no, and they said the Prophet has lost his mind. Yes, it was that same Thursday. On that Thursday, my brothers and sisters, Rasulullah calls for Usama once again. Where is Usama? Has he left? No, he hasn't left yet. Bring me Usama. Usama, waynak? Why haven't you left? Rasulullah then again calls Usama to leave. He gives him the flag and he says, Sir ala barakatillah, O Usama. Again, Usama goes to Al-Jurf. Amongst them are of the companions. Now, Al-Halabi begins to name the companions. He says, and listen to the names that Al-Halabi chooses. With him are Abu Bakr. These are the words of Al-Halabi. Umar, Abu Ubaid al-Jarrah, and Sa'ad ibn Abi Waqqas. And then right after, Al-Halabi says, and some of the companions, they complained and they refused to be under Usama because Usama is a young boy. He's a young man. We are the companions of Rasulullah. We are those that did hijrah with Rasulullah, left our homes in Mecca and came to Medina. We are to be the ones in command, not this young man named Usama ibn Zayd. And so they refused and complained about the commanding of Usama. Conveniently, Al-Halabi doesn't mention who were those that spoke and who were those that said, Usama's not the right man for the job. In another riwayah, in another narration, one of the historians, he mentions that it was this companion is not even known. No one knows who this guy is. Yani. He's the one that complained. It was him, it was this guy. Although Al-Halabi said, قَالُوا قَالَ قَوْمٌ, more than one person complained, it wasn't just this guy. And in that narration that I'm referring to, conveniently, the second Khalifa, he rebukes him. The second Khalifa stands up to this guy, this companion, and he rebukes him and he says, how is it that you're saying this? This is the command of Rasulullah. SubhanAllah, how conveniently it's these individuals that are found in other riwayat defending Rasulullah and defending the command of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam. When if you read the words of Al-Halabi, he chooses these names. He chooses the names of Abu Bakr and Umar and Abu Ubaid al-Jarrah. Who are they? They're the ones that orchestrated Saqifa. They're the ones that orchestrated the taking away of the Khilafah. Why mention these names, O Al-Halabi? Unless there's something going on, there's information that you know that you don't want to tell us. There's something else that you're not going to tell us because it's not convenient. So you mention these names as examples, and then you conveniently say some of the companions didn't like the choosing of Usama. And then conveniently there's another riwayah that says Umar rebuked this individual and responded to him. And you find, my brothers and sisters, this phenomenon of alluding to the fact, or even sometimes being very straightforward and saying that the khulafa or these prominent individuals went against Rasulullah, refused the words of Rasulullah, refused the command of Rasulullah. Conveniently, you have other riwayat that go totally against this riwayah and say, no, they didn't do such a thing, it was someone else. Conveniently, you always have this in the turath of our brothers and sisters, in the books, the narrations of our brothers and sisters, you have this method where you have one riwayah that outwardly says, Fulan, whoever it may be, refused the command of Rasulullah. Then conveniently you have another riwayah altogether that says, no, it wasn't him, it was someone else. But it's always that it was this person, and then you conveniently know it was someone else. Similarly, you have riwayat where a fadila, something is given to Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, conveniently that same fadila, that same merit is given to these individuals. And it's true what they say. The king or the winners of the war, they are the ones that write history. It's truly, that is the case. It's the case that the ones that win the war, they are the ones that write history. And you find, my brothers and sisters, throughout the caliphate, there were individuals that were paid to write riwayat and say Rasulullah qal, wa qala fulan, wa qala fulan. And Rasulullah did not say such a thing. This was happening at the time of Rasulullah himself, to the degree where Rasulullah himself stood on the pulpit once and said, it has come to my attention that there are some amongst you that say, Qala Rasulullah, and Rasulullah did not say. And I didn't say this. No, whoever lies against me, فَلْيَتَبَوَّأْ مَقْعَدَهُ مِنَ النَّارِ. Let them know that there's a special place for them in hellfire. This was something that was happening during the time of Rasulullah. فَكيف after the time of Rasulullah and after the martyrdom of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. So this was on a Thursday. The Thursday before the death of Rasulullah, which was on Monday. So Thursday comes, we said Rasulullah tells Usama, go towards the Romans. And Usama, he obeys Rasulullah, wants to start moving. The companions start to bark at Usama and refuse to move. Then the narration of Al-Halabi, he says, until Saturday rolls along. What happened on Friday, Habibi? You skipped. What happened on Friday? Where's Usama? He doesn't mention what happens on Friday. It's as if he's trying to move things along. And I'll tell you from now, Usama doesn't end up going anywhere. Tell you from now. Usama doesn't end up going anywhere. Usama is there on Monday, and the likes of those that were with him are there on Monday when Rasulullah passes away. Friday rolls around, we don't know what happens on Friday. Conveniently, Al-Halabi doesn't mention what happens on Friday. Saturday comes, and Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam hears of what the companions are saying. The riwayah says, Rasulullah comes out from his home. He had a isaba on his head, a bandage over his forehead. It said he had a very, very, very heavy headache. The poison that was in his body was causing him to have a very bad headache. He had a bandage over his forehead, and with his weak state, he stands on the pulpit and he says, I have heard what you are saying, what the companions are saying, what some of you are saying about Usama, and your refusal to obey Usama. And this is not the first time, O companions. Al-Halabi says, this is not the first time, O companions. You did the same with his father, Zayd ibn Arqam. And his father was suitable for commanding the army. And so is he. Move with Usama. Go with Usama. Al-Halabi then mentions, and he says, all of the companions were commanded to go with Usama except Abu Bakr. Why? Because Abu Bakr was to pray with the people that were left in Medina, because Rasulullah was unable to pray, and so someone had to pray with them, Jama'ah, and it was going to be Abu Bakr. So Rasulullah said, no, Abu Bakr, don't go with Usama. Gharib. Al-Halabi, did you not just mention that of those that were commanded to go with Usama were whom? Abu Bakr, Umar, Abu Ubaid al-Jarrah, and Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas. Either you're contradicting yourself very openly and brazenly. Either that or Rasulullah is flip-flopping and he's truly lost his mind. At one point he's telling this individual, go. Rather, he's the first person you mention. And then in an instance, he's saying, no, I need someone to pray with the people. Like those 4 days or 3 days that Abu Bakr was in Al-Juruf, before that Saturday. Those 3 days, 4 days that Abu Bakr was in Al-Juruf. You commanded them on Monday. Yes? Now it's Saturday. And now you're telling, no, I want Abu Bakr beside me to pray with the people. Those 4 days, 3 days, however long it was, who was praying with the people? Number one. Number two, it's very weird that you say that Abu Bakr was not amongst those that were commanded to go with Usama. And why? Because he had to pray with the people. Very weird. Where was Abu Bakr when Rasulullah passed away on that Monday? The narration says he was with his second wife outside of Medina. He wasn't even in Medina. Gharib. The person that you wanted to pray amongst the people conveniently is not there the day you pass away. Rather, he's outside of Medina itself. If he was to be praying with the people, shouldn't he have been with Rasulullah in Medina to pray with the people? No, he left. He left Medina to go be with his wife. Latif, put that aside, no problem. This is all for history, my brothers and sisters. Let the historians analyze. We're just bringing these things to attention. Yes? Latif, this is Saturday. Sunday comes along. Again, Usama has not moved. He's still in his place. The narration says on that Sunday, Rasulullah was feeling very ill. And so Usama enters Medina, goes towards Rasulullah, and Rasulullah is lying in front of Usama. Al-Halabi says it was in the house of Aisha. It was actually in the house of Sayyidah Zahra. No problem. Rasulullah died in the house of Sayyidah Zahra. And he sits in front of Rasulullah. The narration says Rasulullah raises his hand to the sky and puts his hand on Usama. Usama gets the message. Go, O Usama, go towards the Romans. Rasulullah is constantly telling them, leave, 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 leave. But there are those that are in the background telling Usama, no, wait, we can't leave Rasulullah in this state. There's something happening in the background. Because if they leave, the whole plan is foiled. He goes towards Al-Jurf. Sunday, he doesn't move. Monday comes. The narration says that Rasulullah started to feel a little better. And subhanAllah, you actually find this with people that pass away. They feel a little bit better before they pass away, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes their soul. Muhim, he started to feel a little bit better on that Monday. Kaman, Usama goes to Rasulullah. Rasulullah tells him, go. Sir ala barakatillah. The narration says, Usama finally gets the army together. He's about to leave, and then conveniently the messenger comes to Usama and says, Rasulullah has either passed or khalas. He's passing away. And then the Muslimin go back to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Abu Bakr returns to Medina. And what happens after that happens. As-Saqifa happens. Notice that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam for a week was telling the Muslimin, leave Medina. Essentially telling them, leave Medina for Ali. Leave Medina for Ali ibn Abi Talib. So that the masjid, the city, and the areas around the city, Dawahi al-Madina, are ready for Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam to take place. And those that are conspiring against Amir al-Mu'mineen are not there. This is one way that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam foiled their plan. But you can say, Ahmed, he didn't really foil their plan. He didn't expose anything. He tried. But they constantly found a way to keep Usama close to Medina and not move. And they ultimately stayed in Medina. And when Rasulullah passed away, they were there. And they were able to implement their plot. I tell you, no. There's one word from Rasulullah that exposes their plan and exposes them, all of them. And it's the words found in Al-Milal wal-Nihal by Ash-Shahrastani. Listen to what Ash-Shahrastani says in Milal wal-Nihal. He says these words. He says, وَالْمَوْضِعَ الثَّانِي الْخِلَافِ الثَّانِي. The second khilaf, the second point of contention between the Shi'as and the Sunnis is this. في مرضه صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم, in the illness that Rasulullah passed away from. أنه قال, that Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم said, جهزوا جيش أسامة. Get the army of Usama ready. Listen. لعن الله من تخلف عن جيش أسامة. May Allah's curse be on the one that does not go with Usama and obey Usama. So those that were lingering around Medina, Sa'a they tell Usama, no, the Prophet's about to pass away, we can't be away. Sa'a they say, no, we're not ready yet. لعن الله من تخلف عن جيش أسامة من تخلف عنه. صاحب الملل والنحل الشهرستاني, he says this. وإنما أوردت هذين التنازعين لأن المخالفين ربما عدوا ذلك من الخلافات المؤثرة في أمر الدين. What is he saying? He says, I only mention this point and the previous point because the Rawafid, the Shi'as, they consider these riwayat, these narrations to expose, they consider these narrations to be damning to us. And they are not damning to us. Rather, we understand their meanings. Did he reject that such a thing was said by Rasulullah? No. He didn't reject. He said, these are narrations, or this is a narration, this is a point of contention, this is an argument that they bring up. That's there. But we understand the words of Rasulullah in such a way that doesn't go against our narrative. He didn't say it didn't happen. Sayyid Ja'far Murtada al-Amili, he mentions 8 scholars that narrate this same hadith where Rasulullah says, may God curse the one who does not go with Usama. And so, if you want to know where the truth is, look at the army of Usama. Who were the ones that were standing against him, and who were the ones that were ready to leave from that Monday. So Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam didn't destroy Saqifa. He didn't ultimately give the chair to Amir al-Mu'mineen, because Rasulullah is there to put the plan of Allah Ta'ala in motion, and then ultimately Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala lets things play out. That's the nature of the test. But Rasulullah exposes the ones that are on the truth, the ones that are on the falsehood. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. This is one loose end, my brothers and sisters, that was not tied up. But there was another loose end. There was another flaw to the conspiracy. And it's that this conspiracy was not a matter of let's hatch a plan and let's go for it. Let's wing it. This conspiracy, my brothers and sisters, was written on paper. Rather, this conspiracy was a pledge. What do you mean a pledge? What are you talking about? Don't go to me. Go to Ubay ibn Ka'b, one of the companions of Rasulullah, the man who was going to expose the entire conspiracy during the Khilafah of Umar. Ubay ibn Ka'b, one of the prominent companions, it is said, he would constantly be seen in Medina after the Khilafah of Abu Bakr and during the Khilafah of Umar. Constantly be seen in Medina saying, Halaka ahlul uqdah, the people of the pledge, they have truly gone astray. The people of the pledge have gone astray. And I don't feel sad or sorrow for them. No, I feel sad for the people that they have taken with them astray. Ubay was once asked, who are the people that you're talking? Who's Ahl al-Uqdah? He says, they are those that came together and made a pledge that they are to strip the Khilafah from Ali ibn Abi Talib and from Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam and give it to the first, the second, and Abu Ubaid al-Jarrah. And they wrote it down. What is he referring to? Hala, we're going to go to Al-Bihar and we'll see, me and you. The riwayah says, this was the pledge. And give me until Yawmul Jumu'ah, the day of Friday, and I will tell you exactly who are the ones that signed that pledge. And who was the one that took that pledge? Who was the one that took the piece of paper that was signed? The oath. The riwayah says he didn't live until Yawmul Jumu'ah. He died conveniently before Friday. The narration says he died before that Friday. In our terms, he was going to blow the lid on the entire conspiracy. Go to Al-Bihar, Bihar al-Anwar. And this narration that I just mentioned, my brothers and sisters, is not just found in our books, but it's found also in the books of our brothers and sisters, in their books of Tariq. لعله more than 10 riwayat mentioning Ubay ibn Ka'b saying these words. طبعا, with different wording. Some of them leaving out some details, some of them giving the full picture. But this instance, my brothers and sisters, and this incident is found in the books of our brothers and sisters. Tayyib, what's the story? Ubay, what are you talking about? Which pledge? Go to Al-Bihar and you will know what pledge is being spoken about. Go to Ma'an al-Akhbar actually as well. And you'll find this narration. What does it say? It said that 34 companions came together when the words were written on the wall that Ali ibn Abi Talib was going to become the Khalifa. They came together and they wrote a sahifa, a letter, an oath, saying that we refuse the wilayah of Ali ibn Abi Talib, and we, the Muhajirin and the Ansar, appoint number 1, Abu Bakr, number 2, Umar, number 3, Abu Ubaid al-Jarrah for the Khilafah. And the Sahifa itself is written in its contents where in al-Bihar, Bihar al-Anwar. If you want, you can look at it. Sulaym ibn Qais also narrates this riwayah. Who narrates the riwayah? In Ma'an al-Akhbar al-Saduq. When this is not just tech, we're not just talking about some book here and there. No, talking about these real books. The books that we depend on. Yes? The riwayah says, where did they have this meeting? In the house of one of the khulafa. I'm not going to say his name. And his wife, Asma, overhears the plan that they are hatching. The narration says, of the 34, those that tried to assassinate Rasulullah were amongst them. Assassinate Rasulullah? Absolutely. In Al-Aqaba. First time you hear about Al-Aqaba? We'll leave it to another day, inshallah. We'll tell you what happened in Al-Aqaba, where some of the companions of Rasulullah, those that were amongst the companions of Rasulullah, tried to kill Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in Al-Aqaba. We'll talk about it, inshallah. Those that were responsible for Al-Aqaba were in that meeting of the 34 companions, according to the riwayah. Asma overhears what they're planning. When they write the Sahifa, who do they give it to? Abu Ubaid al-Jarrah. Was a very important figure. He's on par with the first and the second. But conveniently he dies before Umar is able to give him the Khilafah. No problem, that's later on. Abu Ubaid al-Jarrah takes the Sahifa. He goes to Mecca. And it is said he enters the Kaaba and he digs a hole in the Kaaba or around the Kaaba. He puts the Sahifa in the ground and he leaves it. This was during the time of Rasulullah, before Rasulullah passed away. And he returns to Mecca. When he turns to Mecca, لَعَلَّهُ, he returns during the night, and he enters the masjid for Fajr prayer. And he's sitting behind Rasulullah. This is Abu Ubaid al-Jarrah, yes? The riwayah says, listen, Rasulullah finished his salat. He turns and he looks at Abu Ubaidah. And he says to him, Bakhin laka ya Abu Ubaidah. Congratulations to you, Abu Ubaidah. You are now the Ameen. You are the one that they have given the covenant to. So Rasulullah knew what was happening. Knew of the plan that was being hatched. The narration says, the second Khalifa, when he became the Khalifa, he went back to that place in Mecca and he took the Sahifa out from where it was buried. Who knew of this Sahifa? None other than Rasulullah, Amir al-Mu'mineen, طبعا Ahl al-Bayt alayhim as-salam, Asma, and whom? Ubay ibn Ka'ab. When he was about to expose the entire plot, they found him dead. And subhanallah, you find that this pattern of it's about to be exposed, this individual stands in their way, subhanallah, we find him dead later on. And this is a pattern that inshallah, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala yassarha, we will shed light on in discussing what happens inshallah after the death of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and how Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam ultimately safeguarded Islam in a time where Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam was being targeted and war was being waged against Amir al-Mu'mineen. Cold war was being waged against Amir al-Mu'mineen. How he safeguarded Islam and ultimately gave us what we have today until he became the Khalifa, and we will discuss inshallah the conspiracy. For this conspiracy, my brothers and sisters, was there and in place up until the death of Amir al-Mu'mineen and implemented even after his death. We will discuss this further inshallah, my brothers and sisters. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept this little from us, to make us from those who follow in the footsteps of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, to make us from those who know the truth and accept the truth in its fullest, to make us from those who follow Ahlul Bayt alayhim salamullah, learn their narrations, and base everything that we do and live by their words, inshaAllah ta'ala. We ask Allah ta'ala to hasten the reappearance of Sahib al-Asri wa Zaman. And we ask Allah Ta'ala to make us from His supporters. بحق محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين. Let's recite Surah Al-Fatiha للمؤمنين والمؤمنات والشهداء والعلماء. Before it, aloud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.